So I'm going to be talking about wisdom. And there's about 7 scriptures that I'm going to correlate wisdom to. Possibly a couple more. And I'm going to start off where wisdom starts. And most people say it starts with asking for wisdom, because God will give it to you. But before that, you have to recognize that you need wisdom. So wisdom starts by, hold on. Yeah, first you have to know that you need it and you are lacking wisdom, as it says in James 1:5. It even says that God will give it because he gives generously without reproach. And in Matt 7:7, it says, "Ask and it will be given unto you." So actually, it starts off with knowing you need it. And then later, the second step is asking. So once you receive it, it then begins with fearing the Lord, as it says in Psalms 111, verse 10. And since he created wisdom and imparts it to us, we ought to respect the giver of what we ask. Wisdom is knowing and showing that respect, fear, and submission to God. Putting God first will continue the expansion of the wisdom given to you by him. Back to knowing that you need wisdom, that's actually where Solomon started off. It says in 1 Corinthians 13:11, it says Solomon practically felt like a child and knew that he needed wisdom to take David's place as king. And then he asked. So the blessings of wisdom is what comes out of that expansion of it. Wisdom is contrasted as a woman calling out to those who are simple-minded and for them to receive insight. And that word insight means to gain an accurate and deep intuitive understanding. Wisdom goes beyond the vague and simple and gains something that was never revealed before. Wisdom calls out to the simple and brings insight, while the other woman that is portrayed, folly is also portrayed as another woman that is calling out to people, but it doesn't promise anything, and it knows nothing. Matt 11:19 says that people who only see and assume lack wisdom, and that wisdom is justified by her deeds, as in Matthew 11:19. People who lack wisdom jump to conclusions and assume from what they see without that insight. If they had wisdom, they could analyze the situation and act in the correct way. In conclusion, there is an exact distinction between worldly wisdom and godly wisdom. Worldly wisdom is fake to God, and those who think they are wise due to age should become a fool to only then become wise. It's like learning from your mistakes. That scripture is 1 Corinthians 3:18-19. Obtaining worldly wisdom just causes confusion, which is not of God. 1 Corinthians 14:33, and I'm reading out of the ESV. For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. And it also goes on to love and a sound mind. So, overall, there's 2 types of wisdom. It's what you gain through the world, or what you ask from God. And God's wisdom is the opposite of the world. And I ended it weird, but that's where it ended.